Kia ora, yarn friend. I find it interesting how I've adjusted my writing now that I know I'm going to be reading this out loud. These are designed to be long-winded emails, but reading it out loud kind of makes section titles redundant. And I was surprised that the read time from last month ended up being less than 10 minutes. I feel like an absolute dork while I'm recording, and there are some minor bloops that I leave in rather than edit out. I feel like you get the real me that way. It also helped me navigate my YouTube channel somewhat. It took a little boffing about, but I finally settled on creating a playlist for the virtual Cuppa audio, as they are too short to be considered a podcast, but too long to be a short. I don't know if it's possible to interject my own ramblings, but I have a 2-screen setup. So I had the YouTube channel up, and it turns out you can post on YouTube. How late am I to the social media party? I mean, I already had some basic plans for YouTube, but my brain kind of imploded at the potential. Hashtag things I wish I knew earlier. So stay tuned, I guess. Last month, Katie from the Knit Nook launched a Finnish Frog Save Olympics, and I pounced on this like it was the last cookie in the cupboard. All of a sudden, I had this arbitrary deadline to get shit done, and I tell you what, it worked. I finished a project that I didn't want to frog. I finally wove in the ends on a tank top and decided I didn't need to add neck or sleeve edging because I liked how it looked as is. And the most satisfying project completion was a blanket that has been in a box for 10 years because I hadn't figured out how to add the backing. That puppy is getting a little documentary at some point because there is so much I want to say about that project. Last month, I also ran the first reinvented wool on web. I am conscious of the fact that I have not travelled as much as I was hoping to. Not that I'm giving myself a hard time about prioritising my own needs, but it does make me sad that I'm pushing out plans that I wanted to happen this year. The few in-person events I've managed to have reminded me how much I love bringing out to the people, how special it is to be able to do what I do. And so I'm trying to do it in a way that is possible rather than wallow in what isn't. Which means I'm trying to show up online and create a little crafting space that provides access to the awesomeness in the room next to me, access to the ridiculous niche knowledge I have about yarn dye color aesthetics, and space to come together and stitch a bit with piles of yarn in the background. I'm going to be running these most months, and if you'd like the save the date event reminders, just hit reply with WebMe and I will sort it for you. Do you remember your dreams? Mine are vivid, to the point that I can remember a lot of weird dream snippets better than what actual things I did last week. And every now and again, I have a wool on wheels dream. The most recent one was arriving to set up at a yarn event, but when I went to my allocated space, my trade neighbours had configured their setup so that there was no room for me. So then I get allocated to another space, but when I go there, there isn't any room for me either. This may not sound like much, but I can still visualize what happened in my dream and the feels about not having room to set up. I've had variations of that dream before, but I think the worst one when I dream is that my teeth are loose. First one is wiggly, then it falls out, then my other teeth fall out. Then when I'm scooping out teeth, it's more like scooping up clotted sand. I do not like that dream. And the first thing I do when I wake up is run my tongue over my teeth. I tell you, the relief is real. By far the weirdest ones, though, are dreams when I'm driving. The driving starts off normal. I'm in my van and I'm on normal looking roads and I know where I am, which is often a completely wild version of an existing place in real life. But then the roads get unrealistically steep and then you're falling down the hill instead of driving, or there's a bit of water over the road, but by the time you're driving it, the vehicle is half submerged in water. Or I start driving a vehicle, but as I'm traveling, I've transitioned to riding a bicycle, and by the end of the journey, I'm basically in a go-kart. I also have dreams where I'm trying to take photos and I can't seem to focus or press the button. Back in reality, things are less manic. A few weeks ago, my fixed-term role went permanent part-time with an extra day and a pay bump that I wasn't expecting. It's enough to upgrade me from scraping by to being able to slowly save ahead. And it means I can keep chipping away at the things I want to achieve for Wool on Wheels, Life lifing at me has meant delaying a lot of those plans, but they are still there, and I am determined to get back out there. Which is ironic considering how much I love being at home. My partner and I bought in Hunua a year and a half ago, and while the property is around half an acre, it's mostly steep bush with lots of native bird visitors and one resident bunny rabbit. Our house needs a lot of update maintenance and bush clearing because the weed situation is unreal. But it's so peaceful, and the slower pace is a huge contrast to the busy person I used to be. I mean, out and about every weekend, and I had to make plans months in advance type of deal. It was great at the time, but no way could I keep that up now. And it means when I do make the effort to catch up with friends, I appreciate it a lot more. It does take a bit more motivation to leave the house, won't lie, but for the people that matter, it is always worth it when I get there. Modi order.